Hello, friends. This is Lakhan Tanwani, and welcome back to our channel. So, let's talk about the politics. So, guys, if you are just joining, drop a hello in the chat because today we are getting into something that is genuinely massive, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. So, guys, here is the setup. Andy Burnham hasn't even become the prime minister yet. The Labour leadership race has barely started. The man is still technically just the newly elected MP for Markfield, and he's already signaling he wants to water down one of the most controversial immigration policies this government has put forward. Now, let me break down exactly what's going on because the details here really matter. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has been planning it to double the time it takes for migrant workers to qualify for permanent residency. So instead of 5 years, it becomes 10. And the really brutal part, the part that has caused absolute uproar inside the Labour Party itself, is that she wants to apply this retrospectively, meaning people who are already living and working in Britain who arrived here under one set of rules, who made life decisions, signed leases, built careers, started families, on the understanding that they would get settled here status after the 5 years. Those people would now be told, sorry, goalposts have moved, you have got another 5 years to wait, and that's not me being dramatic, guys. This is literally what Angela Rayner, the former Deputy Prime Minister, said back in March. She called it un British, said it would pull the rug from under people who came here legally, worked here they were needed, paid their taxes, obeyed the law, and were promised a future. Now, Rayner isn't some soft touch lefty on immigration. This is a woman who has been around the political block, and even she was furious. So, that gives you a sense of just how divisive this policy is within Labour itself. Now enter Andy Burnham, and this is where it gets politically fascinating because his allies are now briefing journalists that he sees the retrospective element as a matter of fairness and won't want to impose it on people already in the country. And this is very Westminster. A source close to Burnham immediately came out and called it as speculation and said he hasn't made a decision yet, which in politics speak means he absolutely is thinking about it but doesn't want to show his hand before he's got the keys to number 10. And here is the interesting bit that most coverage is missing. Burnham's own position on this has actually shifted because just last year he was openly criticizing Mahmoud's plans, saying doubling the weight would leave people in a sense of limbo, which is a pretty clear position. But then he won the Markerfield by election, a seat where immigration was one of the defining issues on the doorstep. And suddenly he's saying he backs the broad thrust of the reforms. So, what you're watching in real time, guys, is a political recalibrating, trying to hold together a Labour Party that contains both MPs who thinks Mahmood doesn't go far enough and MPs who think she's gone way too far. And that is an almost impossible tightrope to walk because here the political reality Burnham is walking into. Reform UK polling through the roof partly because people feel no government, Labour or Tory, has ever actually controlled immigration. Small boats are still crossing the channel, and voters in towns like Markerfield are done with being told it's complicated. So, if Burnham softens Mahmoud's retrospective rules, he risks reform screening that Labour is soft on immigration again, and honestly, that narrative writes itself. But if it doesn't soften them, he is breaking faith with over 100 Labour MPs, peers, and union leaders who signed a letter demanding the reforms he paused. He's overruling Angela Rayner and he is telling hundreds of thousands of legal migrants who are currently waiting, who responded to that government consultation, 200 responses. Let that sink in, guys, that their concerns don't matter. And there is another angle here that nobody's really putting front and center. The social care sector is genuinely terrified about these changes because the workforce that keeps care home running, that looks after elderly people across this country, is heavily made up of migrant workers who came here under that 5 year settlement route. And more than 100 organizations warned earlier this year that Mahmoud's reforms could push the social care closer to breaking point. So, guys, this isn't just an abstract immigration debate. This has real consequences for real British families who rely on those services. Now, where does this all land? So, my honest review here is that Burnham will find a middle ground. He will keep the 10-year rule for new arrivals to satisfy the tough on immigration wing, but he will carve out protection for people already in the system, framing it as a fairness rather than the weakness. And he will hope that enough to keep both sides of his party on board while not handling reform a clean attack line. Whether that actually works is a completely different question, but the bigger story here is that we are watching the shape of a Burnham government from before he's even been elected leader. And the signals coming out now will define whether people trust him or not. So, guys, drop in the comments. Do you think that this retrospective event is fair or not? Genuine question. I want to know what you guys think. And if you found this useful, smash that like button because it genuinely helps get this content out to more people. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next upcoming video on such amazing issues. Thank you so much for watching and joining in. We'll see you guys in the next video.